I know a lot of people cause I've been a lot of places. Might forget a name, but I don't forget faces. My game
What is
tight
going
for a
on, the world?
cause I still speak
Rocking
to
with the
people
young
that
man Nuke, and this is Fresh Radio, where I bring you family, revolution, edutainment, spirituality, health, and hip-hop all in one show. So, if you listen to the previous show, I was speaking on health insurance basics. You know, I basically just wanted you to get an understanding of what insurance is and kind of why it matters. And then I wanted to just like talk about the different types of terms, you know, the premium, the deductible, co-payment, co-insurance, max out of pocket. If you did not get a chance to listen to that, I'm going to link it in the description below so that way you can listen to that particular show. And then with this particular one, I want to talk about how health insurance works. You know, I want to get into the nitty-gritty about two different things, actually. I want to talk about in-network and out-of-network, and then HMOs, PPOs, and EPOs. So just to give you a quick overview, I am reviewing what I talked about last week, just in case. You know, the premium is what you pay every month. The deductible is what you have to pay before the insurance starts to pay. Your co-payment is typically, you know, your little $20, your $10 that you pay at the doctors. That's your responsibility at a fixed rate. The co-insurance is a percentage that you pay after the deductible. And then your maximum out of pocket, your MOOP, is the maximum you will pay for coverage before your insurance takes over 100%. So yeah, like I said, go listen to the video previous, and then we're going to talk about in-network versus out-of-network, and then HMO, PPO, EPO. So in-network providers. So let's say you're with a healthcare provider. We'll call them Divided Healthcare. All right. And with Divided Healthcare, you know, you are in the state of, hey, let's say Michigan. Love Michigan. So you're in the state of Michigan with Divided Healthcare, and you live in Washtenaw County. So with that being the case, if you were in Washtenaw County in Michigan and you are with Divided Healthcare, your coverage would be based in network of Washtenaw County. Well, it all depends too. It really does. But we're just using this as a brief, you know, if you will, starting point. So your coverage would be based in Washtenaw County. You would be able to see doctors in Washtenaw County. Your doctors that are in Washtenaw County would be in network. However, if you were to go to Macomb County or Wayne County, your doctors would be considered out of network, okay? If you were to travel out of state, not just because it says out of state, but if you were to travel to a different state, your doctors would be considered out of network, okay? Depending on health coverages, sometimes the emergency room can be considered in network, but, you know, we won't go into that particulars. You have to look into your documents for your health plans. So if you need help with that, man, just let me know, man. We can work out something. Hit me up, DM me, inbox me, drop a comment. We can talk about it. So a lot of different, what do they call them? A lot of different, what do they call, services a lot of different services can be pulled under what they call service providers. Okay, I guess that's what we'll call it. So, you've heard of HMOs, right? A lot of people have HMOs. HMOs, they're called health maintenance organizations. And basically, they allow you to have coverage within a defined area. Like we're saying, you're in network in Washtenaw County. So more than likely, you would have an HMO. Now, if you wanted to see a provider that was in Wayne County, Macomb County, Livonia, whatever, you would have to have a PPO, a preferred provider organization, okay? Or an EPO, an exclusive provider organization. Now, the PPO would allow you to see someone outside of the network, but you would pay a little bit more. All right. The HMO and the EPO would not allow you to see someone out of the network except for an emergency. No matter what, there may be an out-of-pocket expense for you just in case, but for the most part, they won't allow you. The main difference between the HMO, PPO, and the EPO is if your primary care provider will have to require a referral to see a specialist. Now, on HMOs, yes, you would need that. You would need a referral to see a specialist. PPOs, EPOs, no. With the HMO and the EPO, you would need to choose a primary care provider. Someone who you see on a regular basis, your doctor, for instance, your family doctor. Instead of just going anywhere and being seen by whoever can see you at the moment, you would have to be seen by your primary care provider so that they would know more about you and be able to refer you to a doctor. Okay. Now, typically those HMOs, they cost a little bit lower. They have a smaller premium, and they have a smaller out of pocket cost, for your co-insurances and your co-payments, your MOOP, your deductible. The PPO will give you the opportunity to just be a little bit more flexible, but it costs more because you're allowed to travel outside of the network and see different doctors that typically aren't available for the HMO or the PP or the EPO. So if you want the lowest cost and don't mind needing a referral, that's when you go with the EPO, or HMO. If you want to choose any doctor, even out of the network, without a referral, you go with the PPO. Now, if you want something that's in between, no referrals, but also there's no out of network options for you, then that's when you go with the EPO. It's kind of in between. Now, if you must see your primary care doctor first, that means you have an EPO, or an HMO. If you must see your primary doctor first before anything, if you have heart issues and you have a specialist, but your primary doctor is the one who would recommend you to a specialist. Your primary doctor is the one that you've seen who's diagnosed your heart issues. That's where the HMO typically is maybe a hindrance, because with a PPO, you can just call your heart doctor, your cardiologist, and talk to them directly, set up an appointment directly. And even if they had to, or they reside in a different state or a different county, you would be able to see them. That's actually what you're paying your money for. You're paying your money for the ability to be able to talk to this person, to go see this person inside and outside of the network whenever you feel like it, as opposed to going to your doctor first and needing to get recommended to them. Now, with the EPO, you can go straight to your doctor, your specialist, but they have to be in the network, and that's the kick with that one. You know, the EPO, you might be able to bypass not having to talk to a PCP, primary care provider, but you still need to be within the network. So typically, if you are the type of person who doesn't travel, who likes to stay in their county, likes to go to the Kroger's across the street, likes to, you know, just stay in your area, an EPO, I would recommend an EPO for you, you know. The reason why is because you never know what might happen, especially if you have ailments. You know, you still would need to go see a specialist. I would recommend the EPO for you. However, more than likely, the HMO would work best for you. Typically, those people who don't leave their county, their city, they're usually the type that are on a fixed income, and you wouldn't want to stress out your bank account with anything else other than the HMO. So this one was a little bit shorter, cause I could definitely listen. I could definitely go in and talk about the enrollment periods and the different types of plans, but we're going to do that on a later date. I just wanted to break down those two things because in and out of network, that confuses a lot of people. A lot of people think that just because they got health insurance, they can go anywhere. You know, a lot of people think that their health coverage works out of state. Sometimes it doesn't. You know, a lot of people think that HMO, PPO, EPO doesn't mean anything for the most part. They think having the PPO is better, but you know, it's just really honestly, it depends on you and your plan and your particular ways that you would use the plan. So yeah, once again, if you got any questions, comments, concerns, or if you want to correct me on the information I gave earlier, yeah, I'm aware of that. Man, hit me up, drop me a comment, inbox me, DM me. Let's talk about it. You know, definitely jump on the website. NUKNOE. We can talk about the poetry book I got up there, the royalty collection guide book, but also I'm selling dental insurance in the state of Tennessee. And then I also got some other things I got coming up. And yeah, once again, I'm going to link the last show into the bio down below. And then I'm also going to put the guidebook. I'm going to try to make it free. If I can't make it free, it's going to be $1. And I'm going to put that down there in the description below as well. That way, you know, it have all the information that I went over today and plus some other additional things I'll be going over in the future. And if, like I said, if you got any questions, comments, concerns, just get at me. This is the Young Man Nuke, and I appreciate y'all rocking with Fresh Radio, where we bring you family, revolution, edutainment, health, and hip-hop all in one show. Listen, y'all be real smooth. Peace.
Yeah. Hey. I know a lot of people cause I've been a lot of places. Might forget a name, but I don't forget faces. My game been tight for a quarter century, cause I still speak to people that I met in elementary.